Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, Inside Mark's Mind. I'm your host, Mark Rowley, and as always, super excited to get on and record a podcast for you this week. I've got an incredible friend with me, one of my best friends from college. It's Jake Goodsell. Jake, how are you doing today?
Great, Mark. It's so good to talk to you. It's good to hear your voice, man. It's been too long.
Dude, it has been like almost 3 years. I mean, right? Or was it 2?
Yeah, because you graduated before me, and then I stuck around and finished my degree, and then I went off and traveled the world. But hey,
I know.
We're here again.
I know, we're here. And now you're not in Utah anymore. You're down in Arizona, right?
I'm actually currently in Idaho, but I've been popping between Arizona and Idaho. My parents moved down to Arizona, so
Gotcha.
I'm mobile.
Mobile. So you don't even have a place that you're living. You're just like couch surfing, basically, right?
I'm a mooch. I'm a professional mooch, yeah. But I'll explain why in our show today.
Aren't we all? So the thing with me and Jake met, like I said, at college. We actually began working together. And Jay, I think I was working there at BYU. We were working in the advertising department there. And I think I was there before you, right?
Yeah, I came in to work in the marketing side and then eventually switched over to the sales side. Yeah.
I absolutely miss those times. Those were some really good times. We had Kari, we had Matt, we had you. Dude, I just remember, what was it? All those fun things we did, those events where we gave out the ice cream. Remember that one?
Yeah, I had you scooping ice cream for like 4 hours.
Oh my goodness. I was like buff. I was like buff. Oh, dude, my arms were killing me. I'm like, dude. And then there's always those people who came back for seconds and thirds. I'm like, what are you doing, you chubster? Get out of here.
Hey, I know who to call, though, if I need a professional ice cream scooper, Mark.
Not me. No.
Not you.
Don't. I will disconnect my phone line, and I'm not going to do it.
Dude, I gotta share a quick story about when I think of Mark.
Oh, dear.
There's always this one. I actually owe so much to you.
Oh, man.
Because on my first date with my wife, we were, obviously not married at that time, but my first date with my future wife, right? We were on this photo scavenger hunt. And my friends made this list of all the things we had to take pictures of.
Oh, my
And one of the things on the list, you remember? One of the things on the list, I was like, where am I going to find this? Because I had to get a picture of a mustache, a real mustache. Gosh. And you know me, I have a baby face. I can't grow anything. But I thought, I think I know one person with a killer stash.
Oh, man, it was me.
Mark. And I called you or I texted you or something. I reached out to you. And it was like, hey, I know I don't know you super well. I just started working with you. Can I have a picture of your mustache? Like, could you meet up in like 10 minutes? Middle of the night. And you delivered, my friend. You showed up. And because of you, there was a second date and a third. And now I'm happily married. So, you know what? It's all because of you and your mustache. Do you still have the mustache, Mark?
No, man. No more mustache. That thing is gone. There was a time and place for that thing, and it
served its purpose.
It served its purpose. It was only needed for getting you married, and it worked. It worked.
Well, we thank you, and maybe someday I'll be able to grow a mustache in your memory.
No, man. Mustaches. Oh, man. I remember that day. That was hilarious. I came like out to meet you on my scooter. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I came flying out of my apartment. I'm like, meet me here. So I just was like scootering across campus to meet you. Met you.
Those were the scooter days on campus.
Oh, my
Mark
goodness.
never didn't have a scooter. You know what I mean? That was a double negative. But Mark always had his scooter. Yeah, man, I should go find that old picture. I bet we have it somewhere.
Oh, my gosh. Please do.
And, make a shrine out of it or something. I don't know.
Please do. Hang it. Put it on your refrigerator for me, please.
Yeah, and teach my children. Kids, this is the man. This is the stash. This is the mustache that started it all.
Here's the legendary man of BYU who started it all. Dude, I'm the one who really like started scooters on campus. Like I was doing it way before anyone else, and then out of nowhere, more and more started coming. I'm like, these people are copying me.
I copied you 100%. It was the best way to get around campus.
It was.
Scooters and stashes, man. That should be the title of this episode.
Dude,
Scooters and stashes.
Scooters and stashes are scooter gang right there. Freaking awesome.
Scooter gang. Good old days.
Holy cow. Dang. So something I do want to talk about, of course, like I mentioned, is your humanitarian service. And I remember the last time I saw you was at your wedding, and that was freaking cool. And then from there, I never saw you because you just like fleed out of the country for like a year and a half doing humanitarian service. So like when you got married, is that something you thought you were going to be doing? Like, just like,
no,
let's go do this.
I mean, I guess not immediately, not right away. But my wife and I have always wanted to give back, and we've always wanted to serve. But when I graduated, just a couple months later, we had a couple different job opportunities, and none of them just felt right. You know, I was like, man, I don't think any of these positions are really what we need to do with our next step in our life. And then this opportunity opened up for us to just go to South America for a year and volunteer an orphanage. And we were like, that's it. And it just felt right. And I also want to definitely get this out of the way and say, you know, I think it's easy to think, oh man, they went and sacrificed a year of their life to go do humanitarian work, and look at them, and they're so great. It's not that at all. Let me tell you, it was like super selfish reasons. I feel like we went because we wanted to see the world. I wanted to like delay getting a big boy job, and you know, I wasn't sure what we wanted to do next. So it was an excellent gap year for me to kind of give back, but also to see the world with my wife and have an amazing, unforgettable experience. So it was so good. It did come to an abrupt end. We committed to 12 months. We ended up coming home at about 11, just because of this thing you may have heard of called COVID-19. I don't know if everybody's heard of it, but
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Kind of shook the world, right? So we decided to get out of Dodge and come back to the U.S. because I didn't love the idea of ending up in an Ecuadorian hospital. Nothing against Ecuadorian doctors. If any of them are out there listening right now to this podcast, I'd be very surprised. But, you know, I'd rather take my chances with COVID-19 in the U.S. than I would in South America. So I've been in South American hospitals, and not the best place, you know?
No, definitely. I know of some scary stories of missionaries who've gone down there, or like Mexico and Brazil, and they've had to go to the hospital, and they like wake up out of whatever happened to them, and they like doctors are just like, oh, we gave you this type of medicine, and they're like, what is that? And they get back to the United States, and like, we have no idea what they're talking about. He probably gave you cocaine for all we know. Like, it's just like, it's scary. It is scary. I'm not like trying to say like the country's bad or anything like that. It's just different, you know?
Yeah, so, it's different for sure. And a lot of people focus on, you know, when I tell them about our humanitarian experience down there, a lot of people focus on the abrupt ending and, you know, the COVID-19 and everybody we basically fled the country overnight. It was very, very quick and kind of scary. But I like to also remind people, you know, that we had an amazing 11 months where we spent every day waking up and being with these children and serving these kids and being with other volunteers. And these other volunteers were like some of the best people you would ever meet, you know, the cream of the crop. And so overall, it's a very safe country. It's the part of the country that we were in is very safe, I should say. And we really enjoyed our time there. So it was totally worth it. And I can't wait to get back once the world kind of returns to normal, you know?
Oh man. So you guys are planning to go back and do that?
Not necessarily to go for the full extent that we did before, but, you know, a week or two just to see the kids again and to reconnect some of those relationships and things like that. But the capacity that we were there as volunteer directors. So our responsibilities were to receive all the incoming short-term volunteers. Volunteers would come for like 2 weeks or 6 weeks at a time. And we would make sure that they were happy, healthy, and safe. We did all the grocery shopping. We made the schedules. My wife and I ran the show down there for the volunteers. And most of our volunteers were high school aged or college age students that wanted to take a semester off or something like that. We had a couple families that came down as well. And man, I'll tell you what, they were all the most amazing people. Super cool to meet them.
That's awesome, man. Like, I have never done anything close to that. All I've done is like taken cookies over to my neighbors. So I'm I'm worthless over here.
I wouldn't say that. Another thing I've learned is you certainly don't need to go to the other side of the world, to a different hemisphere to serve. You know, service is in our backyard. You know, people in our, especially right now with COVID, it's been really stretching me to see how I can help other people because it's so different right now than it was 6 months ago, you know, and you could just go take a plate of cookies across the street or whatever. Now, you know, I got to serve my family more. I got to serve the people in my home. Just more creative ways of serving, right? But certainly don't need to go all the way to South America. I mean, we have plenty of foster kids in the U.S. that need love as well.
Yeah.
I do want to take a second, if I may, also just to give a huge shout out to the organization that we went with. There's plenty of different organizations that people can volunteer, humanitarian organizations that people can volunteer with. The organization that we went with is called OSO, which stands for Orphanage Support Service Organization. They're based out of Utah. They're an amazing foundation. And the way I got connected with them is my dad's roommate in college he became the founder of this organization. So I have my dad to thank for this whole idea. When we got married, he said, you should apply to go down and volunteer because my old college roommate started this organization. He takes volunteers all the time. You should look into it.
Yeah.
And it just clicked. We just knew it's like, that's what we need to do. And it was so hard, dude. I mean, talk about sleeping well. You would wake up early in the morning and play with kids all day and serve kids all day and then go home at night and just hit the pillow and Z's, man. That's all I saw, Z's. You don't toss or turn at night. You just fall asleep, wake up and do it over and over again. And you have a huge smile on your face the whole time. So I would highly recommend it to anybody as soon as volunteers are able to go back to the country.
Yeah. So before you guys actually went down there, what was the biggest fear or like scariest thing you worried about like facing while you're down there? Like, were you just like worried about getting a pet, like a parasite, or what exactly was it?
For sure. I can't speak for my wife, but for me, 100% Spanish, because I didn't speak any Spanish before I left. I mean, I shouldn't say any. I took 2 years of high school Spanish, so I knew no Spanish, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, as soon as we found out that we were going down for a year, I busted out that Duolingo, and I was studying every day, like 30 minutes a day in the morning, and just trying to play catch up and get a leg ahead. But I also had a great tutor. You know, my wife, she actually is a fluent Spanish speaker because she was a missionary in Ecuador, which is another reason that we wanted to go to Ecuador, is because I wanted to go and see her mission and meet the people that she got to serve as a missionary. And that's something that we got to do there as well. Remember I said it was totally selfish? Yeah. There's an example, right? Yeah. So I can successfully say that, I can proudly say that after the 11 months, I can speak Spanish now. At least I can understand it really well, and I can, get into a taxi on my own and get where I need to go and communicate my thoughts and feelings. And especially because I spend most of my time talking with children, with these little kids, and to learn little kids Spanish isn't super hard, I think, after you spend every day playing with them. But I still do Duolingo every day.
That's awesome.
I want to,